sounds like a
So-
B tier, maybe even a C tier, maybe even dog shit.
Was it dog
Chris,
shit, Jody? Is the
you're
question.
hovering over dog shit.
I really just
It
want to put
absolutely
something in
wasn't.
Welcome to another one of our PC Gamer tier lists, where we will be going through the Fallout series this time, rating from, what did we decide?
The top tier is dog meat, named after the awesome dog from the Fallout series. And the bottom tier is dog shit, which doesn't need any explanation.
Okay, dog meat to dog shit. I am Lauren Morton, an associate editor, and I am here with Chris and Jody. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Chris Livingston. I'm features producer at PC Gamer and general Fallout enjoyer.
Hi, I'm Jody MacGregor. I'm the weekend editor and Australian editor, and have played all the Fallouts, which is too much Fallout.
Yeah, I'm a Fallout 3 onwards, but I did open the first Fallout because I do own 1 and 2. I opened it to play the intro in like the first hour to get to Shady Sands before we talked about this. So I have at least one thought about the first Fallout.
And I opened Fallout Tactics and then I closed it very quickly.
Wise.
So I didn't put in quite the effort Lauren did.
Okay, then we start with the first Fallout. Is that right? Which, Jody, you're basically the master of at this point, other than my quick experience, which I will throw in at the end.
It's really good. It was like a real evolution of role-playing games at the time. It's the kind of game where every quest has like 3 different solutions. You know, you can do things the boring, violent way, or there's normally like a sneaky option or a diplomatic option where you can just like talk your way out of most of the problems. Those play out as these like a boss battle in a dialogue tree where, especially if you've got like a high charisma, high speech character, it's really rewarding to be able to have like all of these extra dialogue options. And more if you've got like a high intelligence character or the right skills, it's like a little choose your own adventure where you can talk people out of like a hostage negotiation. You can even like talk the final boss of the game into just realizing his plan is garbage, and then he kills himself. It's great.
That's excellent role playing.
Yeah, which makes it very replayable, right? You can. I finished it and went right back and started over with a different character build and finished it again, which I almost never do. It's super replayable and quite short. It's like 20-something hours, which compared to like some of the later games, they're a bit too long.
That pretty much tracks with the experience I had about an hour and a half ago. Opening the intro, I made the mistake of putting everything in charisma. I did, because I wanted to see what the special options were. And I stole all of those points from my intelligence, and I went with 1 in intelligence because I think I knew this somewhere deep in my mind. This fact was in there, but I had forgotten it while I was sitting in character creation, that if you have a 1 in intelligence in the first Fallout, you speak in gibberish. So all of my charisma was for naught. What was I going to do with it? Absolutely nothing. And so I made it to Shady Sands and accidentally asked someone if they would take me to a rad scorpion cave. So that's what I did in my first 20 minutes of Fallout 1. And it is excellent role playing. And I feel like, is that like one of our big metrics for getting high on this tier list, is like quality of problem solving and role playing?
I feel like it is. I mean, I feel like, you know, the really big draw of these games is, you know, not just the world and the things you can do, but really feeling like you can use the systems of the game to really create a character that you want to, and that you can play in different styles and use different methods. And I think another part of the series is kind of the sense of humor and the kind of commentary on you know, American society. Is that something that's really evident in the original game too?
It is, but it's different. The first game has like a really dark sense of humor about that. Like, you know, one of the first things you see in the intro is American soldiers in power armor, like gunning down Canadians in the street as tensions ramp up before the big oops when the bombs go off. So, yeah, it's very like heavy, dark satire, which kind of dropped away in the later games.
Yeah, I like my commentary on American exceptionalism to be very grim, if at
Yeah,
all possible.
it absolutely is. So yeah,
Okay,
I put this on dog meat.
Would you recommend this to someone to play today? Is it playable? Is it, games age, and sometimes even when they're great, you can be like, well,
I would, absolutely. What you can do is you can download this mod called Fallout Fixed, which will give you your modern resolutions and let you, make the text bigger and more readable. I think it holds up. You know, if Disco Elysium was not too much reading for you, then Fallout will not be too much reading for you. It's it's still an exceptional role playing game.
yeah, I can't imagine that we can hold needing mods to be playable against any Fallout game, or else we'll get nowhere, right?
probably not. All right, so let's go right into dog meat. There's literally no way to fight you on it because we don't have much experience with it.
I believe it. You
Um,
sold me.
Fallout 2.
Fallout 2 is a real second helping sequel. If you know what I mean, it was rushed out a year after the first one, so it is very similar looking and playing, but bigger. Like a lot of video game sequels, when the first game is a success, you make the second one as quickly as possible, and you make it as similar as possible, uh, and that is what they did. But a lot of the original, like the three lead people on the first game had left to form a troika. It was sort of made by the junior team, and it shows a little bit. So even though it plays the same and fixes a few of the like wonky AI issues and stuff, it doesn't have that tone. It's way less consistent. The goofiness, like the sense of humor, goes from being black comedy to being like pop culture references and sort of the stuff that's more familiar from the later games. Okay, to give you an idea of how wacky it is, there are talking death claws. When you get to Chinatown, everyone is obsessed with kung fu and is a real kind of a broad stereotype. There's a side quest where you become a porn star. Yeah, it's just the tone bounces backwards and forwards and is all over the shop. It's incoherent, but it still plays as that kind of big open RPG where you can do whatever you want.
Sounds like a
So,
B tier, maybe even a C tier, maybe even dog shit.
was it dog
No,
shit,
Chris,
no,
Jody, is the
you're
question.
no.
hovering over dog shit.
I really just
It
want to put
absolutely
something
wasn't
about.
dog shit.
Okay, so not dog shit.
Let's put it in B tier for now because we can bounce
Tier.
these things around.
That's
It,
true.
because like the experience of playing it is a lot like the experience of playing the first game. But in my memory, actually, you know what? It also has a really terrible beginning because it starts you out in this temple of trials, this long tutorial where it's full of giant bugs and traps and locked doors, and you need like exactly the right skill loadout to get through. That really sort of soured me on it, made me not want to replay it because I'd have to go through the temple of trials again. So yeah, it's a low B.
Low B. Okay, well, we'll leave it in B for now, and maybe when we get to some of these others, in comparison, it could drop down or could go up.
I was about to say make sure we use the whole scale, but I think, Jody, you gave away your opinion on Fallout Tactics already, right?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Could you
So
put it
No,
in?
I
Could
want
you
to hear
put it
you say it.
into a single word? How would you describe it in a single word?
uh, garbage.
I
It's
was
real
thinking.
bad, eh?
I was thinking of a different word.
Yeah, you're thinking of dog shit. I just didn't want to say it. It's
It, is Fallout Tactics dog shit in your opinion?
yeah, it's dog shit.
It's dog shit. What's wrong with Fallout Tactics, Jody?
So when I was talking about those first two games, I didn't talk a lot about the combat because the combat's fine. Uh, it's turn based, and one of the neat things about it is that you can spend like a few extra action points to target individual body parts on someone. You can shoot a death claw in the eyes if you've got a good enough skill. You can whack a guy in the groin if you want. The combat's not terrible, but it wasn't the draw. And then making an entire spin off that is just the combat and none of the role playing was a real idea.
So like all tactics and like low story, like
Yeah,
minimal.
yeah,
Oof.
real minimal. You play as the Brotherhood of Steel.
Also,
Yeah, In the first game, they're just these survivalist gun nut jerks with a bunker somewhere, and you suck up to them because you really want their power armor. And they just kept coming back and became this recurring focus of the series, even though they're not really that interesting.
That's what you do with them in every Fallout game. All you want from them is their cool power armor, and then you can peace out.
Yeah, you don't want to stick with them for an entire game.
And we're up to Fallout 3, which was, Lauren, I think you said that was your first Fallout game? Mine
Yep.
also. Mine as well.
Yeah, Fallout 3 came out when I was in high school at some point, late in high school, so I spent a lot of hours on that one.
Yeah, I too was in high school. Now I'm old. But yeah, it was my first exposure to the Fallout universe. I don't know, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. A really great tutorial where you kind of grow up in a vault. I thought it was a neat way to introduce that part of the world, and then to kind of unleash you in a search for your father. Who, like, I don't know about you guys, I played it as a revenge mission. I was after revenge because I thought my father left me there to die, which he did. So when I found Liam Neeson, I shot him immediately, and I cut his ear off. He didn't die. You couldn't kill him, but I shot him and I cut his ear off. That's how I played it. I thought it was a great. It was really a great. I think maybe probably one of the first games where I played a really evil, angry type of character, and I thought it really allowed you a lot of options in that respect. Not just killing people, which you can obviously do, but as I was walking around the world, Three Dog, the DJ, kept criticizing me and calling me names and saying I was a terrible person. So I went and found him. Like, I had no idea you could actually go to. I thought he was just a voice on the radio. He's not. He's a guy in the world. And I went and I killed him because he was talking shit about me. And then he was replaced by a woman who said, some asshole killed Three Dogs, so now I have to do his job. To me, that was like a brilliant moment, in that the game recognized my evil deeds, and that I could, like, respond to the game recognizing my evil deeds by killing someone, and then they still thought enough ahead to replace that person with someone else. So yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
I love those Fallout family values. Find and kill
Absolutely.
dad. It's been so long since I properly played Fallout 3. I know I spent so much time in it, and I know that I was so enamored with it at the time. It was probably like it was certainly like the biggest RPG I'd ever played at the time. I was like a long like action adventure type person beforehand, and it's hazy in my mind, like the rose colored glasses.
Around the point you find your dad in that cool VR vault, it sort of peaks, and then after that, um, it's never as grim again. You get really overpowered, and I do think the story sort of drops off in the second half. Like, it's such a strong opening. The whole tutorial, where, like you said, you're learning to walk by learning the controls and tunnel snakes rule and all of that stuff.
Tunnel snakes
It's
rule.
such a, a such a great tutorial. I like replaying it, but I don't like the ending.
All I know for sure is that the next one I want to put above it. So is Fallout 3 like B tier again? Is it 8? I don't know. How strong do you guys feel?
I mean, when I think about the other games I've played, I think I enjoyed Fallout 3 probably more than all of them. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying I felt like I enjoyed it more. Is it dog meat? Is it not dog meat? It's
It's
probably
not
not dog
dog
shit.
meat.
It's
Well,
not dog
let's.
meat, but the capital wasteland is a really cool place to explore. It does have a really strong setting.
What would you say, Lauren? A tier? B
Yeah,
tier?
I can go for A tier.
A tier?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
happy.
realizing how many of these games I'm about to come out to bat for now that we're in my territory.
Mm. Well, our next one is certainly much beloved. Fallout New Vegas. It was Obsidian, um, with their take on Fallout, and certainly I would say the most celebrated.
Yeah, I feel like if it wasn't always, it certainly now is the cool thing to say that New Vegas was your favorite, right? And I'm not counterculture enough to go against it. I do really love New Vegas.
Jody, what do you think about New Vegas?
I think it's my favorite of the modern Fallouts for sure. It does feel the most like. Actually, it feels almost like a sequel to Fallout 2. Like it brings back a lot of elements from that game, but I think it does them better. You know, I really like the factions in it and being able to side with different ones, which makes it replayable, which is what the best Fallout games are about. I do think New Vegas, the city itself, is underwhelming. Like as the centerpiece of the game, that's right there in its name.
There's some great mods for adding more NPCs to the Vegas Strip, and in my opinion, you should always have them because it makes it feel so much cooler when you get there. New Vegas is excellent. It's probably maybe my favorite. I love the desert. I love the factions, the freaky cannibals, the modern Kaiser's Legion, right? All of them. I love the role playing. It's as with my first experience today in Fallout 1 and like noticing the cool options that you get either rewarded or punished with for how you spec your character. I love New Vegas. It has, in the modern Fallouts, I always play with the Black Widow perk. It's my very favorite. And New Vegas has some of the best Black Widow options. It's fantastic. You can, when you're going out to kill Benny, you can seduce Benny before you kill him, which people have jokingly accused me of being fanfic before. And I'm like, that is real. That's a real thing you can do. You can seduce a man into a dumpster before you turn him over to the cannibals. That's hilarious. I love New Vegas. I think it has great role play. I think it's a really cool place to be in the desert. Yeah, I'm going to bat for New Vegas.
I've been just hovering around here, but I think everyone knew it's definitely gonna be. Like it probably should be first in dog meat. Yeah, it's a great. It's the best. I would say the best. Not the one I love the most, but definitely the best. Fallout 4,
Fallout
contentious,
4.
divisive. There's always a lot of talk about how Fallout 4 kind of let the series down. I know a lot of people, even at PC Gamer, think like it really scaled back the role playing aspects, which are obviously super important. I think it's great. I like it while acknowledging that. Okay, let me say this. Fallout 3, my favorite. Fallout New Vegas, the best. If I was gonna play any Fallout game like today, if someone said play a Fallout game, it's gonna be Fallout 4. Not every time I jump into a role playing game do I want to go like, you know, have intense conversations and do character missions and deal with everyone's bullshit. Sometimes I just want to fuck around. And Fallout 4 is a great game to fuck around. You got those settlements that are a pain in the ass when you're trying to play the game, but they're great for when you don't want to play the game, when you just want to be in the world and do stuff.
It has a building system. We love building systems, even if they're jank.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I don't feel like doing a mission, or I can't remember what I was doing in the middle of. I'll go build a garage for all my power armor. Like that's fun stuff to do when you don't feel like, really getting involved and listening to a bunch of NPCs talk your ear off. So that's my case for Fallout 4 being um, pretty high in that I think it's the most playable and there's a bunch of dumb shit to do in it.
Jody, do you have strong Fallout 4 feelings?
Oh,
Oh,
Jody.
big boo!
Yeah, I was not a huge fan of Fallout 4, which I only actually I went back to it recently and finally finished it. And yeah, the having the main character be like fully voiced and have some quite limited dialogue options did make the conversations all feel very underwhelming. It's like they wanted to have a main character who is rather than just like you can build whatever you want. You feel like you're sort of forced into being this specific person. You know, you're a parent, your kid's missing. That's obviously going to dominate like what you want to do, which is just find your kid. In a game like The Witcher, where you have to be a specific guy, I don't mind because that guy is Geralt. He's cool, but the guy I was forced to play in Fallout 4 was not cool. He was real boring.
Not a cool guy.
I did not enjoy being that boring dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a trite thing to say, but when I've heard people say Fallout 4 is like a great open world adventure, but like maybe not an excellent Fallout game. That probably feels closest to how I feel about it, because like it is good fun. I like to just muck about with the building system. It's, decent gunplay for a Fallout game. But yeah, the grim commentary on, America it's very hopeful. It's a really hopeful game. And the role playing, like you said, Jody, not as much there as it was in the past. I mean, they gave you some options, but definitely not anything that like I remember the way that I do some of the things from like New Vegas, for instance. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue with anything either of you said. I think that's a good way to put it. Like a cool open world game, not a great Fallout game. So now we
No,
have to.
disappointing as a Fallout game. It's dog shit, Chris.
Is it dog shit?
No, it's not dog shit.
Dog shit?
No, it's not.
Let's say I wasn't here saying nice things about it. Would you two put it in dog shit?
No, I'd put it in C.
Put it in C?
I would say B or C if I didn't have to be nice to you, Chris.
Well, you don't have to be nice. I appreciate it though. Gosh. All right. I'll put that there for now. I disagree.
We can make it a low B.
But
we can go for low B because I know what I'm putting in C.
It won't stay there, but we'll keep it in mind. Fallout Shelter, was that next?
Yeah, we skipped that.
It was. Oh yeah, it was technically before Fallout 4. Announced and released when they did the big Fallout 4 reveal at E3 in 2015, which I remember because I love Fallout Shelter. It's so good.
I remember it too because we were watching. We're like, oh shit! Now someone has to write something about Fallout Shelter, which we'd never heard of. That's strictly a gaming media problem. When something gets surprise announced, like fans and players can go nuts, but we're all like, fuck! Someone's gonna write this really quickly and publish it. Yes, Fallout Shelter.
I was still on the fan side at that time, so I was just enjoying it. I downloaded it immediately, I think, before the show was over, because I was like watching it with friends. Fallout Shelter is a great game because I had played other like mobile management games before that. They later, after launch, added in a quest system where you like go out of your vault and like go on quests and come back with loot and stuff. And the whole time you're like creating more dwellers and building up your vault. It's just a very good mobile game, which I was not expecting from a like surprise. Here's a thing we're releasing today. That's not the game that you wanted exactly. That's coming later. Because that could just be crap, right? That could be dog shit. And, they would have gotten away with it. But it's a good game. That's what I have to say about Fallout Shelter.
I played a lot of Fallout Shelter as well. I played it on my phone, and then it came out first on the Bethesda launcher. Yes. So I played it again, and then it came to Steam, and I started again, and I played it for like almost another 50 hours. It's real compulsive, right? You want to keep going back to check in on how everyone is doing.
Jody, did you download or use the weird free Google Docs tool that somebody made to plan out your shelter before you fully build it?
No, I did not.
Oh, in deep. Anyway, continue.
I don't want to know that exists because I might go back. I don't know that it's a great game, even though it is a very compelling one, because I like it because I like to see numbers go up, and I like putting clothes on little computer people. But every time I restart it, I get a goddamn raider attack, and that's annoying. And I do sort of feel like I'm being manipulated by it. It's just sort of pumping endorphins into my brain.
I will accept that it is also on the axis of pretty decent game. Fallout game, it's Fallout skinned, that's for sure. Fallout game, it might be B tier. I would accept that, even though I think it's great.
I think it was like a really big surprise, and that it was really good and fun, and you gotta love the art. It took one of the best parts about the Fallout series, which is the Vault Boy art, and fun. It's cute. It's certainly compelling. I don't know, manipulative probably, but I think a lot of mobile games are. I mean, I think it's a really neat mobile game.
Lauren, you think it's A tier, right?
I do, but I would accept B on the basis of it being like moderately Fallouty.
I'm happy for it to be A tier.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's 2 tiers better than the very enjoyable Fallout 4.
We can shift that if you want.
I used the word contentious for Fallout 4. I don't think that. I think I should have saved that for Fallout 76. That was a. Gosh, how would you describe it? You can't quite say it was a disaster because it's still going and people do really love it. The people who love it, I think, really love it. Plenty of people who fucking hate it and they're still playing it. I reviewed it. Obviously, I think my review was more positive than many. I think a lot of people really loathed it when it first came out.
What did you score it, Chris? Do you remember?
I don't remember if it was like a 60 something, maybe a low
No,
60.
you gave it a 60.
A 60 exactly, yeah. But I think a lot of other reviews were really unhappy. Like
It was rough. You and I
yeah.
were both playing it just ahead of launch during the Xbox pre-play period, Chris, to do guides. And it was difficult.
Yeah. And a departure from the single player Fallout games, not much of a role playing game. Obviously, they didn't even have NPCs, they were just robots. Not really games you make a lot of choices in. Was a lot of just doing quests and things. But a pretty neat world, I thought. I really enjoyed the world.
West Virginia is cool. It was really pretty. It is still.
The forest was nice.
Yeah, there was a lot I kind of liked about it. I have to say, I have not played it much since, except occasionally to go back in. I did go back in after the NPCs were added, which kind of, you know, overhauled the system to give you more, you can use dialogue choices and actually, make decisions based on who you want to side with. And there were companions, sort of companions. I think companions you keep at your base or something.
I went in with low expectations because it's a spin-off, right? It's a multiplayer spin-off. It's not like they didn't call it Fallout 5. So I went in with the similar kind of expectations I went into Fallout Shelter or Fallout Tactics. Like, this is just a side thing, and I don't expect or need it to be a big single-player RPG, because it's not. So yeah, I enjoyed especially the first area, like around the vault, where it's really lush and green, and it feels very different to the other wastelands. It is really cool to explore, and there's a lot hidden around there that I think I feel about Fallout 76 like you feel about Fallout 4, Chris, that it's a cool open world to mess around in with a lot of stuff hidden in it.
Fallout 76 at a meta level is a proper vault experiment where we were all the participants, the slightly willing participants, I think. All the other problems aside, I felt like it brought out the Fallout spirit in everybody, even if it was kind of a bit of a train wreck on its own merit.
So where do we want to? Where would we say we want to place this? I'm not getting the feeling anyone really thinks it's dog shit. I think
Not quite.
had problems with it. Ultimately, didn't love it. Probably won't play it again unless someone I work for says, "Hey, there's a new Fallout 76 thing. Go play it and write about it." Otherwise, would not voluntarily play it. What do you think?
I was going to call it C tier.
Yeah. Do we want to put it above Fallout 4 or not?
No, that would be
That would be
cruel.
rough. But well, yeah. I wouldn't say well with that.
Okay.
I would say that's fine. No, that's bullshit. Fallout 4 is better than Fallout 76 by a tier.
Put Fallout 4 at the bottom of B tier.
I can't put it at the bottom. Oh, you mean, is this like the bottom? This would be
Yeah,
the bottom
left to right.
Oh, okay.
Just in imagination.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Oh, what's this?
How did that get there?
Outer Worlds. That's not a Bethesda game.
It's just an Obsidian game.
It's just an Obsidian game. Well, did we? I mean, it was sort of spiritually a Fallout game in a way. Obsidian, who made our number one total awesome dog meat pick, obviously, and then made The Outer Worlds, which has a lot in common. What did you guys think of The Outer Worlds?
It was those trailers and the way people talked about it. There was a real expectation that it was going to be New Vegas 2. I don't think it lived up to that. It was
the
not.
trailers really tried to come for Fallout's lunch money. I remember the first trailers for it.
Did I review it? Did I review this game? I can't remember. I should know.
You should know.
I love having to ask that.
And that was only a couple years ago. I don't remember that. Jeez.
That says a lot about The Outer Worlds. It is real forgettable.
I remember
so
enjoying
linear.
it. Yeah, I remember liking it. I just don't remember ever thinking about it once I
did not review it, Chris.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Tom Sr. gave it a 79.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have too strong of an opinion about it. I thought it was fine.
I didn't play it. I watched from the sidelines. People said it was decent, and I never got the vibes strong enough that I absolutely needed to play it.
I feel like it has a mashup sci-fi setting, but the Fallout like Atomic Age sci-fi plus Mad Max thing is unique, and it's like a weird, that juxtaposition gives you weird stuff to play off the two things, whereas The Outer Worlds is like 70s book cover planetary sci-fi plus westerns, and that's just Firefly. Like, that's already a thing, and I don't think they found anything interesting to do with that mashup. I liked some of the companions. Parvati was cool, but there was nothing else memorable about it, or its quests, which were very straightforward and predictable. I always knew what was going to happen. Every twist was like, I know who's the bad guys here. I know that the people who seem nice are not actually all that nice. I've played this game before.
I feel like the tools were there, but it just wasn't particularly engaging to me, I think. But I thought it was fine. It was fine, right?
Fine sounds B tier to me.
Is that a B tier?
I think it's a C.
Is it a C?
So are we happy where we came out on this?
I feel pretty good.
OG Fallout at the top with New Vegas.
Are you guys okay with Fallout 4 being a B? I pushed hard, but
that's why you're here.
Yeah, it's got to be a
compromise. Revise it. I can still move things. This is the thing where I make a case and then feel guilty about it because no one knows what I think.
No, but stick to your guns.
Look how many Fallout games there are. I think it's a good series overall. Only one dog shit entry.
Mm-hmm.
We
used the whole scale. I'm proud.
We did.
People are going to be mad about Fallout 2 being lower.
Oh yeah.
That's all on you, Jody. Sorry.
They're going to be mad when I move Fallout 4 up to dog meat. No, okay. No, I'm good with the list. I think it's a good list. It's a good tier list.
I think it's a good list too.
Yeah,
good job.
It is. It's a good series of games. I don't like the newer ones as much as the older ones, but I'm glad they keep making them. And I will keep playing.
Do you think we'll get a Fallout 5?
It's going to be a while.
Yeah, right behind Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6.
Maybe in 10 to 15 years we'll revise this.
See you guys in 2030.
How do we end the show? I don't know how.
I don't know. That's all I had was my Pip-Boy
I didn't watch
thumbs
the
up.
end of the other video.
Oh,
they said see you next week. We recorded that a month ago.
Oh dear. See you next.
See you next.
Fill in word here.
See you later.